What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? And welcome to the Six-Man Show Postgame Live presented by Rockham. What in the world was that? Magic lose 102-99 in Chicago after quite literally one of the ugliest quarters of basketball I've ever seen. I'm joined tonight by the man, the myth, the legend, Matty World Peace. Matt, before we go to the chat and hear what they have to say, because I'm sure they have stuff to say, how would you summarize that fourth quarter?
First and foremost, this is a safe space, so
Yes.
I know everybody's feeling the same right now. That fourth quarter, man, that was some ugly basketball if I've ever seen it. Never in my life have I seen ugly basketball by the Orlando Magic like that. They just couldn't get a shot. Nobody could. The Bulls couldn't either. Yep. I don't know. That was excruciating to watch. I stepped away for a second. I was like, surely, score's going to change. No. That was rough, man.
Yeah, that was a disaster. A score in the fourth quarter of 16-12 in favor of the Bulls, and those 4 extra points that the Bulls scored ended up being the difference in the game. Again, 102-99. What a gross game of basketball, especially the second half. We're going to talk all about it here on the show. Thanks for joining us. If you're joining us live here on YouTube, or maybe you're watching this later or listening to this in podcast form, we're glad you're here. Again, I'm here with Matt. My name's Kevin. Glad you're here. This show is brought to you by Rockham. Rockham is the world's largest sock store, and they're a Central Florida company. They're located right down the street from Kia Center, and they make some awesome socks and underwear for some of your favorite teams like the Orlando Magic, as well as some NHL, NFL, and college teams too. So if you want some of that awesome gear, definitely check them out at rockham.com and use this code because it'll get you 20% off your order at rockham.com. Oh, it's flying up there today. 20% off your order at rockham.com all Magic season long. Check them out at rockham.com. And again, that code also helps out the show too. So definitely check them out. Appreciate Rockham for supporting the show. All right, we do have a super chat to get us kicked off. Soul Train says, annoyed because they should have won by 10 plus IMO. Yeah, if you hit like 3 more shots in the fourth quarter, instead of going 4 for 24, maybe you go 7 for 24, which is still terrible. If you do that, you win this game by double digits. Thank you for that super chat, Soul Train. That's all it takes. And that's not even talking about the third quarter, which was also a disaster, by the way. The Magic scored 25 in that third quarter. And that's the quarter they let the Bulls back into it after a pretty comfortable first half. The Magic won the first quarter, and they lost the second, third, and fourth quarters. So really, first quarter was great. The rest of the way it was not. But yeah, thank you so much for that super chat, Soul Train. Wow. Sometimes we can come on the show and just like we know exactly where to start. Right now, I'm kind of stunned by that mess. So I'm going to ask the chat to help me out here tonight because I really can't believe basically how that game ended over the last 12 minutes, basically. Luis Rosario says, this fourth quarter is pure garbage. Way too many turnovers and bad shots. Yeah, for sure. Lots of turnovers. The bad shots thing, it's a mixed bag for me. The Magic got a lot of open looks. I will say Paolo, he took like 4 straight threes. Didn't love that, especially against a team like Chicago, who has almost zero rim protection, right? Paolo in the first half was able to do whatever he wanted. He did knock down a couple triples in the first half, which you love to see. But he was able to get to the rim. He was able to get to his mid-range shots. But in that fourth quarter, when offense got really stagnant, I'm guessing it's just tired. He was exhausted, and so just tried to pull up. And all 4 of the threes that he took were short. And so, yeah, some of the shot selection was bad, but they also got a lot of good looks. I mean, KCP, you signed the guy. Obviously, defense is great. Like, we can't complain about his defense. His defense is elite. You signed a guy to be a shot maker. He's not making the shots that you need him to make. Wide open several times. I think he ended up like 2 of 7 tonight. Let me see what he ended up. KCP, 2 of 7 from 3, yeah. And KCP doesn't take contested threes. Like, all 7 of those were good looks. And so he's got to make more than 2 of those. And again, on a night like tonight, you just need him to make 1 or 2 more. You need Gary to not go 0 for again. You need Anthony Black not to go 0 for. That's all it takes to kind of put a game like this away. So that's rough. Let's see. Yeah, Luis Rosario again. Yeah, that 0 of 24 stretch was ugly. I've never seen anything like that, Matt. I don't know if you have, but 0 of 24 for both teams combined. I haven't seen anything like that since middle school at Heritage Christian School in Kissimmee. I don't know about you,
They were giving their best tribute to Kobe right there.
The 24. They had to hit the 24 before somebody could make it rip. Yeah. Daidala says, my eyes. Yeah, you got to hide your kids tonight. They shouldn't have watched that. That was rated R stuff. That was painful. Nesto says, what happened to Franz? Yeah, Franz definitely still dealing with the illness. Again, he tried to go tonight. I thought he was maybe not 100%, but like 90% based on Coach Mosley saying pregame, yeah, he's good to go. But obviously he wasn't because wasn't available down the stretch. again, if you have Franz, it makes the difference in this game. At least I think it could. We got a couple super chats coming in here. Louis Azario says, Jet took Cole's minutes tonight. Yeah, let's talk about that, Matt. Okay, if you've listened to the show for a while, Jonathan on the 6 Man Show has talked about this, potentially Jet, and myself too, but Jet potentially taking Cole's minutes. It's no secret Cole is not off to a good start tonight, or to the season. Tonight, Jet officially took his minutes. Now, there's speculation. Does Cole have the illness that other guys have, or was this a true DNP? Matt, what do you think about Jet taking some Cole minutes tonight?
I think we're trying to kind of see what Jet looks like with the main rotation. I know Cole's been in a slump, and I think he's finally off that leash. I think Mose is like, hey, look, it's time to kind of take a break. I think it's going to push Cole a little bit better to kind of start making some shots. So I think we're going to see some more Jet minutes. Now, to me, at the moment, Jet's just a little bit taller of a Cole Anthony. He's out there. He's a flamethrower to hit threes. He wasn't doing it tonight. So it's similar to the production we get from Cole. There was one thing that I witnessed, and I said in our group chat where Jet got bodied and just shoved out of the way. And I said, hit the gym, Jet.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's still young. He's still got a lot to go and a lot to learn. But the effort's there. You can see him trying on defense, and I think that's kind of been the main thing holding him back from playing. So I'm hoping going forward we see some more Jet minutes.
And he also brought the ball up a couple times tonight, which that was one thing that some people said that Cole has over him, and he does. Cole's a better ball handler than Jet, but hey, Jet showed that he's at least capable of bringing the ball up, if guys are getting pressured in the backcourt or whatever. Got a couple more super chats. This one's from Charles A. Says, there had to be at least 5/10 left after the Giddey foul. I thought about this. I haven't gone back and watched this. Obviously, they said after the foul, there's 1/10 of a second left. Powell hits the shot, and Powell freaks out, gets pretty angry. But, I mean, if you've been following basketball long enough, they won't do a catch and shoot under 3/10 or 4/10, depending on who you ask, because that was never going to count. But I wondered about this. Again, I haven't gone back and watched. I wondered if the 1/10 was even accurate. I can't speak to it. I haven't gone back and watched it. Usually in these late game scenarios, they'll go back and check the tape and make sure the clock is accurate. When the foul happened, was it actually 1/10 left? Maybe they did it. I didn't see it on the broadcast. And so that's something worth looking at. Again, I can't claim if that was correct or incorrect because I haven't looked. But if someone in the chat wants to go back and look and see maybe if there should have been more time left, because that would be wild. If there was actually 4/10 left and Paolo hit that would have been pretty crazy.
Maybe that's why he was so upset.
Maybe he thought, yeah, see, that's why he got mad. I told you should have more than a 10th. Who knows? I don't know. Nick Monks with a super chat says, interesting rotations. Isaac in late. Gary is back. Well, yeah, back in the rotation. Definitely not back because he goes 0 for again tonight.
He's back.
Second straight game. yeah, exactly. But an interesting point with the rotations, a couple things I noticed tonight. Paolo didn't play the full first quarter, which he has been doing the last couple games. He came out with just under 3 minutes left in the first quarter, so that was interesting. Something that actually bothered me, though, when the Bulls went on their run in the third quarter and they couldn't miss triples, Josh Giddey hit 3 of them in the third quarter, which that's when things are going bad. When they went on their run, coach refused to put Jonathan Isaac in. He didn't put him in until the end of the third quarter. And I'm like, if you're getting cooked, why not put your best defender in there? That one kind of bothered me because they were just getting open looks not the whole stretch, but they had a ton of open looks during that stretch when they made the comeback and J.I.'s just sitting on the bench. Again, I don't know if that's something where it was pre-planned ahead of time that, hey, J.I.'s going to come in with 3 minutes left in the third or whatever it was. But I wish there was a little bit of flexibility there where you realize, hey, we're getting cooked. Let's put in our best defender. We got another super chat here from Mikey. 50,000 IDR. I'm trying to remember. IDR. Is that Nigeria? I can't remember. Or Indonesia. I always forget. There are a couple people that donated IDRs last season, and I can never remember which country it is. It might be neither one. I'm probably making both of those up. But anyway, he says, food for thought. Markelle shot 47% field goal percentage last season. KCP is shooting 26%. Okay. Thank you for the super chat. Here's the thing with Markelle. Markelle's not on any NBA team right now, right? So it's for me. I think most people had a lovely time with Markelle, at least for part of his time here. We have an appreciation for who Markelle is, but clearly Markelle just unfortunately is not an NBA player right now, right? Partially, maybe because of his game, but I think partially because of his injury situation, his injury history. Again, that's no shade to Markelle. Is Kenny shooting horribly right now? Yes. it's not good enough. Like he hasn't been good. I think he's going to be better, but the defense that KCP brings is a totally different tier than what Markel offers you. And Markel is not a bad defender by any stretch, but what I've seen from KCP, I'm obviously totally impressed, and I think the shot will fall eventually. Just not falling right now, unfortunately. Thank you so much for that super chat. And then King the Seventh says, this is on Angel Reese. She's undefeated as a fan. That's pretty funny. Yeah, Angel Reese.
She's out there scouting for Paulo.
Exactly. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. Angel was in the crowd today on the front row. That was pretty fun. But yeah, thank you all so much for those super chats. There's 140 of you here, by the way. You all are some psychos for hanging out after that mess. Quite literally one of the ugliest quarters I've ever seen, and I've been watching this team for quite literally 20 years. And you're hanging out here at 10:45 on a Wednesday night while the World Series is going on. Which, Maddie, you're a Yankees fan, right? Am I making that up, or am I remembering that? Okay, so I know things are getting tense over there. Blown lead again. I'm not watching it, but I don't know if you've got it on in the corner there, but yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. But I'm saying you could be watching the World Series and instead you're hanging out with us. So you guys are a bunch of psychos. Thanks for being here. I think I want to go to the box score next, just because I feel like I just want to get this over with. Because it's, again, hide your kids. This is some PG-13 content right here because of just how ugly this box score ends up being. Franz tonight with 7 points, 4 assists, 3 boards. Obviously, he's still dealing with that sickness. Only played 22 minutes tonight. Did not play down the stretch when you really, really, really needed him. Really needed another shot creator. Not going to speak too much on Franz tonight because obviously he's not 100%. Paolo, again, terrific first half. 31 points for him, 7 boards, 4 assists. 12 of 22 from the field. Did have 3 turnovers, but efficient shooting the basketball except from 3. He goes 2 of 9 from 3. And again, there was those possessions there in the fourth quarter when we couldn't buy a bucket. And I'm off the top of my head, I think it was 4 straight triples that Paolo took. I think he had 2 on the same possession. He missed 1. They got their offensive rebound, gave it back to him. He took another one. Then 2 more possessions after that, he took triples. And it's like, brother, it's just, again, when it's falling, it's great. When it's going down, it's great. But if it's not going, just get to the rim, especially against a team like Chicago. But hey, I'm not going to complain about Paolo because without his 31 and 7, this game is over earlier in the game as opposed to down the stretch. Wendell tonight, maybe not his best game of the season. He's been a monster on the glass so far, but to only have 7 boards in a game when there were so many rebounds to be had because both teams were missing so bad, you'd like to see him maybe get a few more rebounds. Ends up with 14 and 7 for him, 2 assists, a steal, and a block. KCP, we've talked about him already, just 8 points tonight, goes 2 of 7 from 3. Jalen, a little bit of a mixed bag for him, does have 17 points, has 3 of 9 from 3, 6 boards, 5 assists, 4 steals. He was a maniac, but he does have 5 turnovers, and some of them were pretty bad. Again, credit to him, though. A couple of those turnovers, he instantly got the ball right back. I think the play that is on most people's minds, he had that terrible pass, and then like one arm grabbed the ball from Vooch, and intercepted that pass and then got it to a Wendell who was kind of cherry picking and got the dunk. That was great. Anthony Black, we'll go to Gary Harris next. Doesn't score, goes 0 for again. I think it's his second straight game where he doesn't hit a 3. We gotta get some buckets from our 2 guards. Gary, KCP, you gotta hit those corner 3s, brothers. Come on. We gotta have those. Anthony Black, a good game for him tonight. Doesn't hit the double figures, but he does have 4 points, 3 boards, 6 assists. Is that 3 blocks? They gave him 3 blocks. I know he had that nasty, block on the jump shot, but he ends up with 3 blocks. That's wild. Good night for him defensively. Again, dishing the basketball, but unable to hit from distance. Guy who did hit from distance hit his corner 3s tonight for the most part. Jonathan Isaac, just 13 minutes, but gets 8 points, 5 boards, 2 of 4 from 3. Mo Wagner, pretty quiet night for him, just 7 points. And then Jet Howard, we talked about him a little bit, getting the Cole minutes. Does hit 1 triple, ends up 1 of 4 from 3. Anything stand out to you tonight other than, I'll get to the team stats in a second, which are just horrendous, but anything stand out to you, Matt, from the kind of the individual box scores?
As far as like Paulo, I know we just watched him go supernova, and he played a lot. And I think, as he ramps up here this season, and he's been working all off season as far as his body and as far as being able to kind of play through all this time. I think this 37 minutes, 38 minutes, 40 minutes a game is kind of taking a toll on him right now. I think he's just getting on a stretch, and I think that's why he was settling for those 3s there in the fourth. He was just exhausted. But I think, you kind of power through that, and we saw it last game where he did, and he went again supernova. This game, little bit exhausted, but I think he's gonna play through it, get a little bit more in game shape. And then as far as that goes, I didn't like what I saw from Mo tonight. I really didn't. I thought he was just a negative all around. He just, to me, Mo does two things. He's that guy you bring in and get a hype play. He'll take the charge, he'll set the tone that way, or he'll go in and just do some crazy dunk and set the tone and get everybody into the game that way. It's good to see Ji back alongside him because I feel that's got to be the play going forward with those two side by side. But that's really it. Other than that, KCP, I'm a little bit nervous with his shooting. I know eventually it should start falling. He's fine right now because the defense, like you said earlier, still elite. I'm not worried about that. He's not a negative out on the court, but like we got to get these shots to go in, man.
Yeah,
We got to
100%.
get them to fall.
Again, all it takes is one or two guys hitting one or two more buckets, and this game is a win. It's just
And also, speaking of shooting, big shout out to Jalen Suggs. He's been working on that 3-point shot consistently through the last couple years, and he was on fire starting off again tonight. I know he kind of ended cold, but it is great to see, man. And that's going to be huge for us going forward.
huge. Again, yeah, if Jalen's not hitting his threes in that first half, I mean, when they go on that run in that third quarter, this is a blowout the other way. Because he's his second leading scorer tonight, 17 points. Yeah, like you said, he caught fire in the beginning, cooled off towards the end, but I mean, yeah. Speaking of KCP, I wanted to look at Zach LaVine because he got clamped by Kenny tonight. I'm copywriting that phrase, clamped by Kenny. Just kidding.
Ooh,
11 points, 2 of 9 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3. Only went to the line 8 times. Had 10 boards. I mean, I was super again impressed with KCP and how he defended for the most part tonight. He was on Zach LaVine and he did a great job. I wanted to show a couple of these messages from the chat. Chris D says we died by a 3 tonight. Ouch, that sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. Magic go of 11 of 46 from 3. That's 23.9%. That's going to be tough to overcome in this league. I think opening night against Miami, we took like 49 threes or something like that, but the difference was we made, I think we shot like 40-something% that night. So like if they're falling, it feels good, but on a night like tonight where they're not falling, and it just quite felt like they were just like desperation heaves, especially in that fourth quarter, it's just not the way to play, especially Magic basketball. Janine says, can't win a game if we can't score in the fourth. P5 doing everything he can. He needs help. Yeah, I 100% agree with what you're saying, Matt. I hope that when Franz gets back to 100%, that Franz can give maybe Paolo a couple nights off where he doesn't have to be the guy 100% of the time. Let Franz, so you kind of take over some games. He's capable of doing that. Give Paolo some rest because, man, you're right. When you're talking about him playing 38 minutes a night plus, I mean, I know it's a thing in the NBA, guys do it, but he's still young. I don't want to break him too soon. I did see we had a super chat come through here. Nick Monk said, I don't know, Josh was game 6 Clay career game versus us again. Yeah, he's talking about Josh Giddey. Yeah, 100%. Let's look at him. He ends up with 20 points, 11 boards, 5 assists, 4 of 4 from 3. Are you kidding me? That's disgusting. Oh man, that's wild. 4 of 4 from 3. That's gross. I hate that. Yeah, thank you for that super chat. I didn't realize he did not miss until this very moment. That's pretty bad. Looking at some of the team stats again, this is just gross. That the second half, the Magic score 37 points. Yikes! Yeah, 37 points. They lose 34-25 in the third and 16-12 in the fourth. Magic only get 38 points in the paint. That is not a recipe for Magic basketball at all. Again, you like to have Franz, who's able to get in the paint and get some of those points and all that stuff. But even without Franz, you got to do better than 38 points in the paint. Magic had a 20-point lead, so that stinks. You choke away a 20-point lead in a loss. You never want to see that. They only turn the ball over 12 times. So, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's not that bad, but I'd be interested to know how many of those were in that third quarter and fourth quarter, which was a real mess. So, yeah, gross. Let's take a look. Let's go back here and take a look at stuff from the chat before we look at some of the scores around the league. And guys, there was an opportunity for some movement tonight in the across the league because of some of the other scores, but that's unfortunate. Let's see here. What do we have? We have JSCO just says blah. Yep, that's pretty much it. Cy Robin says we need a point guard so bad. Yeah, again, it's tough. Sometimes the Jalen thing's working and sometimes it's not. Like, again, there were a couple stretches where he had some bad turnovers in the span of a couple minutes, and I don't know if that's just he makes a turnover and gets in his head and tries to make up for it and causes another one. I don't know. Tyrion Lewis says I've seen pickup games at Park with better offense. SMH, yeah. I've seen middle school games with better offense in that fourth quarter. That was crazy. 0 for 24 between the two teams is wild. Jay Curve says no more jump passes. Yeah, Powell got caught a couple times doing that. Hate to see that. Nessa says glad to see J.I. back. Yeah, we talked about it. I mean, how big would J.I. have been, the last couple games? I know you go 2-1 without him. But even the game Monday against Indiana, if we have him, I feel like it's a little bit of a safer victory as opposed to what it ended up being. Chris D says instead of play the song tonight, it's burn the tape. Yeah, I'm never watching that second half ever again. You couldn't pay me. A couple of people talking about KCP. Yeah, he's just not shooting the basketball well. I think it's again, this is game 5. Not a big enough sample size for me to really be worried. Obviously, it's disappointing. Again, a night like tonight, all it takes is a guy like KCP to hit 2 more threes and the Magic walk away with a win. And so, not just him. Anybody else could have hit 2 more shots and the Magic would have won this game. Let's see. Luke Benson says AB fouled Josh Giddey with 0.6, not 0.1. Hey, just saying, it could be something. We'll have to take a look at that. And hey,
last 2-minute report.
If that's true, it's going to be on the 2-minute report. And if that's really, really true, the Magic are going to file a complaint and it'll be a thing. Will it be accepted? Those things are rarely accepted, but we'll see. Matthew Kennison says Magic on the road, disgusting. Well, yeah, we're 1-2 on the road. That's a good point. Hadn't thought about that. You win the home or the season opener in Miami, then you lose in Memphis and lose in Chicago. Yeah, 1-2, not a great start on the road, and the road trip just gets tougher from here. This is a game you really got to win in the grand scheme of the road trip. And with that, I do actually want to go ahead and bring up the score because this does impact the remaining road trip because I want to talk about that. We'll skip down here to the final scores. The Hornets beat the Raptors. This is the one I want to talk about, though. The Cavs whooped the Lakers tonight. They are 5-0. They're going to be undefeated when we go to Cleveland on Friday, which is interesting because I originally, when this season started, I talked about how the Cavs, how the Cavs had a soft schedule. They had the first 3 games was like Toronto, Detroit, and Washington. And I was like, well, of course they're 3-0. They played really bad teams. Tonight they played the Lakers. I can't remember who they played on Monday. They played another, I think maybe a good team. I don't remember who it was. But yeah, I mean, you beat the Lakers. The Lakers were 3-0 to start the season and playing pretty good basketball, and they beat the crap out of them at home. And so they could be a legit, really good team. Regardless, they're 5-0. They haven't lost. And so that's a tough game. This is a game that really bothers me tonight because the Magic lost. The Pacers give the Celtics their first loss of the season tonight in overtime after blowing a 24-point lead. Look at this one. The Pistons beat the Sixers 105-95. Again, Sixers still without Embiid, still without Paul George. But Tyrese Maxey, I thought, could maybe lead him to a victory over the Pistons at home. But no, sir. Pistons get their first win. Wild. Wizards beat the Hawks. And then the Knicks beat the dirty stinking Heat. Cat with 44-13. Gross. And look at this. Are you kidding me? The freaking Nets, who we took care of, beat the Grizzlies, who we couldn't take care of by 13 on the road. The Nets won in Memphis, and we can't even do that? Oh, my goodness. That's rough. So all these things combined kind of bothers me because a win tonight would have done some pretty good Magic. Well, pun intended.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I didn't even mean to do that. I apologize. That was bad. But anyway, it would have done some damage on the standings because now the Magic are 4th. They're 3-2. But if you win tonight, you're 4-1. You're sitting there in second in the East with a showdown in Cleveland on Friday for the potential to be the top seed in the East after Friday night. I'm just saying. So that's out the window now, unfortunately. But, luckily you still have a nice lead over teams like the Pacers and the Sixers and the Bucks and all that kind of stuff. So disappointing night in a lot of ways, but especially when you look around the league. Just not what you want to see. Let me come back here to our see what we got. Let's see. We got a troll. Every once in a while we get a troll in the chat, which is fine. We got another person saying there was 0.5 left. Okay, so we've heard 0.6, 0.5. It sounds like there was more than 0.1 though, is what I'm hearing. The consensus is looking like, which is again something interesting and something definitely worth watching tomorrow. And Dari, our friend, she's also an attorney, so if you need an attorney, check her out. She said she's going to work on that copyright for me, Clamped by Kenny. All right, so we'll get that copyright going. We'll get the T-shirts made. It'll be great. Thank you for that, Dari. Yeah, Chris says Cavs look really good this year. Absolutely. James says Cavs Game 7 all over again. I think you're referring to blowing the lead tonight. Yeah, in some ways, it kind of resembles it. You get a nice lead in the first half. Chicago comes back a little bit in the second quarter to make it interesting. Third quarter, they really come back. And fourth quarter, the Magic can't score. You're right, James. It's pretty much identical to the Game 7, which you hate to see that.
Kev, I'm worried about that.
You are? The second half stuff?
I'm worried about the blowing the leads. It's carrying on from Game 7. We've seen it twice now. Last game on Monday, this game now. And we're a home team. I was really hoping to see the Magic take care of business today and kind of blow it out of the water and kind of hold the lead, and they didn't. So I'm getting a little bit worried about that.
Yeah, and honestly, there was a possession I think it was in the first quarter. Magic were up, I remember specifically, Magic were up 19. Franz has a triple, a great look at a triple. And as he leaves it, I literally said out loud, put him to bed, Franz. Like, if this goes in, we're up 22 in the first quarter, and all the momentum in the world. I feel like what you said is exactly what happens. He misses it, and Chicago turns right around and knocks down a three. I don't remember who made it. They knocked down a three. So instead of it being a 22-point game, it's a 16-point game. And from then on is when they kept chipping away at it. And obviously you can't lose a game in the first quarter. Well, you can, but I mean, one shot, Franz missing that shot is what I'm trying to say, is not why you lost the game. But I feel like this team sometimes, especially on the road, once momentum starts swinging the other way, it is very hard for us to get it back. Like, really hard. And some teams are good at that, you know? Obviously, I think our biggest issue is offensively. Sometimes it's hard to get that back. Defensively, this team still had a great night tonight. You hold the Bulls to 102, barely crossing 100. And obviously, they scored 16 points in the fourth quarter. Like, normally, you hold the team to 16 in the fourth and you're walking away with a victory. Instead, tonight, because you can't score, you know, it's the other way around. And so, yeah, I'm with you, man. It's interesting. I don't know what the solution is other than you just got to have, again, one or two more guys be able to take over, essentially, knock down some buckets. And again, if we have Franz in this game, I feel like we win the game, right? In the second half, I mean, if we have Franz and he's healthy, just one more facilitator, one more creator, one more guy who can get to the rim, I feel like this is a win. And so me personally, I'm not sitting here like super angry at this, especially because I feel like Powell just has the weight of the world on his shoulders right now because no one else is doing anything. But I think if we're fully healthy, I think we win this game. Still doesn't take away the fact that you gotta figure it out. You gotta figure out a way to win this game when you're holding a team to 16 points in the fourth quarter. All right, a couple more looks at the chat before we call this a night. James also says Trey, future point guard of Orlando. I've gotten the opinion from Jonathan Osborne, from Luke Sylvia before about this. Matty World Peace, I've never asked you about Trey Young. This is a little sidebar. It has nothing to do with this game and more just to do with my curiosity. Do you like Trey Young, first off, by himself? Secondly, do you like Trey Young on the Orlando Magic? I'm curious.
I like Trey Young by himself. I was a big Trey advocate during that draft. I thought it was going to happen. Do I like Trey Young on the Magic? I do not like Trey Young on the Magic. And the reason being, Trey Young dominates the ball. He needs the ball in his hands. In fact, he's the number 2 player in the league as far as having the ball in his hands and creating a play. I think it's, I just read the stat today. I forgot who it was. I think it's Jokic is at 1, and he's 8 above Trey Young. So it's very heliocentric, and that's not how we are. And I feel like that's going to take away from Paolo. That's going to take away what we kind of want Paolo to be. And I think on top of that, it's going to take away from Franz as well. The idea of Trey Young is nice. It is. But I don't think he's the right guy for this team.
Yeah, I just go back and forth. I have such a hard time because on a night like tonight when our offense looks like that, I'm like, give me Trey. Give me Trey tomorrow. I'll take him. But you're right. For the overall culture of the team, the overall like makeup of basketball speaking, like how we operate, especially defensively, I love our defensive identity. I think it's so fun, and I think it's super important. And it keeps us in every game, including a game when you score 12 points in the fourth quarter. Like, I love that, and Trey obviously would take away from that defensive identity because he's one of the worst defenders in the league. Yeah, and then James says this shows how huge Franz really is. Yeah, I mean, this league, you can't get by with just one guy, you know, carrying a basketball team for a whole season. Obviously, a guy can go off and win a game by himself any night. It's always possible. Again, you look back to just Monday. We had a guy score 50, if you remember that. But yeah, you can't do that over a full 82-game season. You got to have other guys contribute. And so, yeah, we definitely missed Franz. Last thing here tonight, James Holler says Trey and Paolo pick and roll go burr, though. I mean, that'd be spicy. that'd definitely be spicy. But again, defensively, I don't know. I don't know what gets you. So, all right, guys, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. Again, Magic lose a tough one. One you got to win. You got to win. It just gets tougher from here the rest of the road trip. Cleveland on Friday. Another watch party, by the way. Rivals at Wall Street. If you're in Central Florida, go check that out. Whether you go to the watch party, you watch it at home, whatever you're doing, tune in back here. We'll be right back here after the game. In fact, Maddie will be here, flying solo, running the postgame live on Friday. It's going to be a good time. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you on Friday. But until then, of course, let's go Magic.